In the heart of the Middle East, a figure stands with immense power, shaping the future of a nation and influencing global politics. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, has led the country since 1989, commanding influence over its political, military, and foreign policy decisions. But who is the man behind the title? In this documentary, we will delve into the life, leadership, and ideology of Ali Khamenei, exploring how his role in Iran has shaped not only his country, but also the broader Middle East. Through historical moments, ideological shifts, and decisions on the global stage, Khamenei's leadership has molded Iran's trajectory and left a profound impact on the region. Born on July 17, 1939, in Mashhad, Iran, Ali Khamenei was raised in a religious household. His early years were marked by a deep connection to Shia Islam, a connection that would later shape his ideological foundation. Khamenei's education began in the religious seminaries of Mashhad, and he continued his studies in Qom, the center of Shia theology. It was here that Khamenei's passion for both religion and politics blossomed, influenced by the writings and speeches of Ayatollah Khamenei. Khamenei's rise to political prominence came during the Islamic Revolution of 1979, which sought to overthrow the rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who had been backed by the West. Alongside Khamenei was part of a broader opposition to the monarchy. He became one of the prominent voices calling for an Islamic state, based on Shia principles, opposed to the secularism of the Shah's regime. In the post-revolutionary years, Khamenei quickly rose through the ranks of the new Islamic government. He became president of Iran in 1981, a position that brought him into direct leadership during the Iran-Iraq War, which would have a lasting influence on his leadership style. Despite the heavy toll of the war, Khamenei used his time in office to solidify his political base, using the position as a springboard to secure the supreme leader role in 1989. When Khamenei assumed the role of supreme leader in 1989, after the death of Ayatollah Khamenei, he inherited a country deeply affected by war, economic sanctions, and the trauma of revolution. As supreme leader, Khamenei was granted supreme authority over all branches of government, including the military and judiciary, surpassing even the elected president in power. Despite the skepticism surrounding his ascension to the position of supreme leader, Khamenei was able to secure his place as the dominant political figure in Iran. He quickly consolidated power, strengthening the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, and other loyalist factions within the government. His leadership has been characterized by an unyielding adherence to the principle of wilayat al-faqih, the doctrine that grants supreme authority to an Islamic jurist. This doctrine has positioned Khamenei not just as a political leader, but as the guardian of Iran's Islamic identity and its revolutionary values. The extent of Khamenei's authority became clear during the Green Movement protests in 2009. When mass protests erupted against the controversial re-election of President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, Khamenei's response was swift and brutal. He ordered the military and police to suppress the protests, demonstrating his uncompromising stance against any form of dissent that threatened his rule. At the core of Khamenei's leadership is his unwavering commitment to Islamic governance and his vision of an Islamic state governed by Shia principles. This vision is rooted in a belief that political power should align with the teachings of Islam, and that the Islamic Republic is the embodiment of that vision. Unlike Western democracies, Khamenei's Iran is founded on a theocratic system where ultimate political power lies in the hands of religious authorities. Khamenei's view on foreign policy has been shaped by a deep mistrust of the West, particularly the United States and Israel. He has consistently portrayed the U.S. as a global hegemon that seeks to impose its will on sovereign nations, especially in the Middle East. Khamenei has rejected Western-style democracy, viewing it as incompatible with Iran's Islamic values. Instead, He has promoted the idea of Islamic democracy, where the government is accountable to religious principles rather than secular electoral systems. One of Khamenei's most controversial stances has been his vehement opposition to Israel. He has repeatedly called for the dissolution of the Israeli state, referring to Israel as the Zionist regime and an illegitimate entity. Khamenei's strong rhetoric against Israel has defined much of his foreign policy, fueling tensions in the Middle East and contributing to Iran's support for militant groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, which oppose Israel's existence. Khamenei's leadership has also been defined by Iran's involvement in the Syrian civil war. Iran has been a staunch ally of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, providing military and financial support to keep his regime in power. Khamenei has framed Iran's involvement in Syria as part of a broader effort to support resistance against Western and Israeli influence in the region. Internally, Khamenei's leadership has been marked by efforts to preserve Iran's Islamic identity. His government has maintained strict controls over political freedoms, particularly the press and the Internet. Independent media outlets have faced severe restrictions, and political dissidents have been imprisoned or silenced. Khamenei has also overseen the implementation of conservative social policies, including strict dress codes for women and limited freedoms for religious minorities. Despite these repressive policies, Khamenei has maintained widespread support, particularly among conservative factions of Iranian society. His leadership has been credited with maintaining political stability in Iran, even as the country has faced economic hardships due to international sanctions. His ability to unite disparate factions, including the religious establishment, military elites, and hardline political figures, has been key to his survival as supreme leader. However, Khamenei's leadership has not been without its critics. Many within Iran, particularly younger generations, have grown disillusioned with the regime's authoritarianism and lack of political reform. This has led to sporadic protests and uprisings, such as the 2017 to 2018 protests, which were sparked by economic grievances and calls for political change. Despite the pressure for reform, Khamenei has shown no signs of yielding, opting instead to tighten his grip on power. One of the defining aspects of Khamenei's leadership has been his commitment to Iran's nuclear program. Despite international pressure, Khamenei has maintained that Iran's nuclear ambitions are peaceful and focused on energy development. However, Iran's increasing nuclear capabilities, including uranium enrichment and the development of ballistic missile technology, have raised concerns both regionally and internationally, particularly with Israel. Khamenei has framed Iran's nuclear program as a matter of national sovereignty, asserting that Iran has the right to develop nuclear technology for peaceful purposes. His regime has also viewed the nuclear issue as a key means of asserting Iran's power and autonomy in a region dominated by Western and Israeli influence. The nuclear dispute led to the Iran Nuclear Deal, JCPOA, in 2015, a historic agreement that saw Iran agree to limit its nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. However, following the U.S. withdrawal from the deal in 2018, Iran resumed its nuclear activities, heightening tensions once again. Khamenei's regional influence extends beyond nuclear issues. Iran has played a pivotal role in Yemen, where it supports the Houthi rebels in their fight against the Saudi-backed government. Khamenei has consistently advocated for Iran's role in supporting resistance movements across the Middle East, positioning Iran as the leader of an anti-Western, anti-Israel coalition. Despite his immense power, Khamenei's leadership has been the subject of significant criticism. Domestically, many have accused his regime of suppressing political freedoms and violating human rights. The 2019 fuel price protests and the violent crackdown on demonstrators sparked outrage both within Iran and internationally. The regime's harsh response to dissent has led to widespread condemnation, particularly from human rights organizations. Internationally, Khamenei's policies have strained Iran's relationships with Western nations and many of its Middle Eastern neighbors. His support for militant groups, nuclear ambitions, and antagonism toward Israel have made him a polarizing figure. The continuing tensions with the U.S. and Israel, as well as Iran's involvement in proxy wars across the region, have made him a central figure in the broader geopolitical struggle in the Middle East. Khamenei's legacy will be defined by his role in shaping modern Iran. He has transformed Iran from a revolution in turmoil into a regional power with a unique governance system that blends religion and politics. While his regime has faced numerous challenges, including economic crises, political unrest, and international sanctions, Khamenei's leadership has maintained Iran's sovereignty and position on the world stage. As Khamenei approaches his 80s, the question of his succession looms large. His health and eventual departure will mark a critical moment in Iran's history, as his successor will inherit the task of navigating the complex and often turbulent waters of Iranian politics and foreign policy. Khamenei's ability to maintain control over Iran's diverse political factions will serve as a defining feature of his legacy. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's life and leadership have left an indelible mark on Iran and the world. From his early days as a revolutionary to his current role as supreme leader, Khamenei has steered Iran through turbulent times, guiding it with a vision shaped by his commitment to Islamic values and his determination to resist external pressures. As Iran continues to navigate complex international relations, Khamenei's influence will undoubtedly remain a key factor in determining the country's future.